My beloved child, something has just shifted in the heavens, and you were not meant to miss this moment. Right now, as you are hearing these words, a divine file has been unlocked in the courts of heaven, a file that carries your name, your prayers, your tears, and the very blessing you have been waiting for. This is not ordinary. This is not something that happens every day. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opening, and Archangel Michael is urgently calling you to pay attention before it closes again. There are moments in life that pass quietly, and then there are moments like this, loud in the spirit, powerful in purpose, and impossible to ignore. You may have felt something stirring inside you recently. A strange pull, a sudden awareness, a feeling that something is about to change. That is not your imagination. That is heaven signaling you. That is your spirit recognizing that something sacred has just been released with your name on it. Listen carefully, because what you are about to understand will change how you see your current situation. This heavenly file was not randomly opened. It was sealed for a reason. It was protected through seasons when you were not ready, through nights when you cried without answers, through battles you didn't even know you were fighting. And now, at this exact moment, the seal has been broken. Not by chance, but by divine timing. Archangel Michael is not whispering this message. He is urging you, almost pleading with you, because he knows how critical this moment is. He has seen what is written inside that file. He has witnessed the blessing that has been prepared for you. And he also knows something else, that there is a narrow window to respond. A window that will not stay open forever. You might be wondering, why me? Out of all the people in the world, why would this message find you? The answer is simple but powerful. You were chosen to hear this. Not because you are perfect, but because you are positioned. Positioned by your faith, your endurance, and even your struggles. Every delay you experienced was not denial, it was preparation. Every closed door was not rejection, it was protection. Right now, heaven is not asking for perfection from you. It is asking for attention, focus, awareness. Because missing this moment is not about losing something small. It's about overlooking a divine shift that was designed to elevate your life, restore what was broken, and bring answers to prayers you thought were forgotten. Feel this deeply. There is a reason your heart is beating a little faster as you listen. There is a reason this message feels different from everything else you've heard. That is because it is not just information. It is activation. It is a call from the spiritual realm into your present moment. The file has been opened. Your name is inside it. Your next blessing is already written. But the question is, will you open it before it closes again? Say here, do not let distractions pull you away. Because what comes next will reveal why this moment is so urgent, and why Archangel Michael refuses to let you miss it. There is something you must understand, and it may answer questions your heart has been carrying for a long time. This heavenly file, the one that now stands open before you, was not always accessible. It was hidden, sealed, and protected with divine authority. Not because you were unworthy, but because the timing was not yet aligned with your spirit, your path, and your purpose. Heaven does not rush what is sacred, and what has your name written on it has always been sacred. You have gone through seasons that felt confusing, even painful. Times when doors closed without explanation. Moments when you prayed, waited, and heard nothing but silence. You may have wondered if your prayers were being ignored, or if your faith had somehow fallen short. But the truth is deeper than that. Every delay you experienced was part of a divine preparation process. While you were waiting, something was being formed within you: strength, endurance, clarity, and spiritual awareness. Archangel Michael has stood as a guardian over this process. not just watching from a distance, but actively protecting what belongs to you. There were unseen battles taking place, battles you never witnessed, struggles you never felt directly, yet they were fought on your behalf. Forces that tried to interfere, to delay, to disrupt what was meant for you. But they did not succeed, because what God has written for your life cannot be erased by opposition. The file remained sealed because you were being aligned. Think about this carefully. If it had opened too soon, you might not have recognized its value. You might have overlooked it, misunderstood it, or even walked away from it. Timing is everything in the spiritual realm. What is given too early can be lost. What is given at the right moment becomes transformation. You have changed, even if you do not fully see it yet. The person you were in your past seasons is not the person you are now. You have grown through your struggles. You have learned through your silence. You have become more aware, more sensitive to the unseen, more connected to something greater than yourself. And that is exactly why this file has now been unlocked. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. Heaven had been watching for the moment when your spirit would be ready to receive without fear, to recognize without doubt, and to act without hesitation. That moment is now. And that is why the urgency feels so strong. Because the same divine timing that opened this file will not keep it open indefinitely. Archangel Michael understands the weight of this moment. He knows what is written inside that file is not small. It carries answers to things you have been silently asking for. It holds restoration for things you thought were permanently lost. It contains direction for paths that once seemed unclear. But there is also a truth you must face. Just because something is prepared for you does not mean it is automatically received. There is always a moment of decision. A moment where your awareness must meet your action. Where your faith must move beyond thought and into response. This is why this message has found you now. Not earlier, not later, but exactly in this moment. Because the window has opened, and you are being called to recognize it. You are not here by accident. You are here because something within you is ready. Ready to understand. Ready to receive. Ready to step into what had been waiting for you all along. And as this realization settles into your spirit, you will begin to feel something else rising within you, a sense that time is moving, that something is approaching, that a decision cannot be delayed. Because what comes next is not just revelation, it is a warning. There is a weight in the atmosphere right now, and if you are sensitive in your spirit, you can feel it. This is not just another moment of inspiration. This is a moment of decision. Because as the heavenly file stands open, Archangel Michael steps forward with a message that carries both urgency and warning. Not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Not to pressure you, but to prepare you. He is not speaking casually. His voice carries the authority of divine assignment. And what he is revealing to you now is something many fail to understand until it is too late. Opportunities in the spiritual realm do not remain open forever. When heaven releases something, it moves in alignment with purpose and timing. And when that timing shifts, the window closes, not out of punishment, but because the moment has passed. You must hear this clearly. Hesitation is the quiet thief of destiny. It does not come loudly or aggressively. It whispers. It tells you to wait a little longer, to think a little more, to come back later. It makes delay feel harmless. But what you do not see is that delay, in a moment like this, can cause you to miss what was specifically positioned for you. Archangel Michael is urging you not to fall into that pattern. He has seen countless souls stand at the edge of breakthrough, only to step back because they doubted the timing, questioned the call, or allowed distractions to pull their attention away. And when they returned, the moment had already shifted. This is why his message feels intense, because he knows what is at stake. This is not just about receiving a blessing. It is about stepping into alignment with something that has already been prepared for your life. And alignment requires response. It requires you to be present, aware, and willing to move when called. You may feel a resistance inside you right now. A voice asking, "What if this is not real?" Or "What if I am not ready?" That voice is not your truth. It is the echo of past disappointments trying to protect you from hope. But this moment is not your past. This moment is different. And deep within you, there is a part that recognizes that. The warning is not about fear. It is about awareness. Because once you recognize what is happening, you cannot treat this moment casually. You cannot approach it with indifference. You cannot assume it will wait for you. What is open now is open for a reason, and your response matters more than you realize. There is something powerful about immediate obedience in the spiritual realm. When you respond without delay, you align yourself with the flow of what has been released. You step into the current of divine movement. But when you hesitate, you step out of that flow, and it becomes harder to reconnect. Archangel Michael is not asking you to understand everything. He is asking you to trust what you feel right now. That pull in your spirit, that sense that this message is meant for you, that awareness that something significant is happening. That is your signal. Do not ignore it. Because what comes next will reveal even more about what is inside this heavenly file, and why your response in this moment determines how it unfolds in your life. Now pause for a moment and receive this activation. If this message is reaching your spirit, type these words with intention. I receive what is open for me. As you do this, understand that you are not just writing words, you are aligning your spirit with what has been released. Blessing code 777 is now activated over your life. And as this sacred moment settles into your heart, hear this as well. There are those who feel this message deeply, who sense the urgency, who know that something divine is unfolding, not just for them, but for countless others still waiting to hear. This is where your obedience becomes a seed. When you choose to support the spreading of this message, you are not giving to a platform. You are helping unlock doors for souls who are still searching in darkness. The word declares that when you sow into good ground, your harvest is multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. If your spirit is stirring right now, this is your moment to act. Say within yourself, I am part of this mission, and step forward in faith. Use the PayPal link placed in the description or the QR code shown in this video as your point of action. As you release your seed, may heaven respond with open hands over your life, bringing increase, clarity, and divine favor. Do not delay. Move as you are being led. There is something extraordinary about to be revealed to you, and it is not by accident that you have remained here, listening, feeling, and absorbing every word. Because now, the veil begins to lift. The contents of the heavenly file, the one that carries your name, are no longer hidden in silence. What was once sealed is now being revealed, piece by piece, to prepare your heart for what is already yours. Imagine this for a moment. A divine record, written not by human hands, but by the authority of heaven itself. Every page filled with details of your journey, your struggles, your prayers, your moments of doubt, and your silent endurance. Nothing was overlooked. Nothing was dismissed. And now, within that same file, there are answers that directly respond to everything you have carried. Archangel Michael has stood witness to what is written inside. He has seen the blessings assigned to your life, and they are not small, temporary, or meaningless. They are transformative. They are designed to shift your reality in ways you have not yet fully imagined. Inside this file, there is restoration. Things that felt lost, broken, were beyond repair are not forgotten. There are moments in your past where you thought, "It's over. That will never come back." But heaven does not operate within the limits of human conclusions. What seems finished on earth can still be written in the spiritual realm. And within this file, there are restorations already authorized for your life. There is also clarity. You have faced situations where confusion clouded your decisions, where you questioned your path, where you wondered if you were moving in the right direction. That uncertainty has not gone unnoticed. Within this divine record, there is direction, clear, precise, and aligned with your purpose. It will not come as chaos. It will come with peace, with understanding, with a sense of knowing that settles deep within you. And then there are breakthroughs. Not gradual, barely noticeable changes, but powerful shifts that alter your circumstances. Doors that once remained closed will open. Opportunities that seemed distant will come closer. Barriers that stood firm will begin to move. This is not exaggeration. This is the nature of what happens when heaven releases what have been prepared. But there is something even deeper within this file, something many overlook when they think about blessings. Here is alignment. Because a blessing without alignment can feel overwhelming, confusing, or even burdensome. That is why this moment is so important. What is being released to you is not just an external change. It is an internal positioning that allows you to receive without fear, to move without hesitation, and to recognize without doubt. Archangel Michael understands that what is inside this file must be received with awareness. Because if you approach it casually, you may miss the depth of what is being given. This is not just about material gain or temporary relief. This is about stepping into a version of your life that has been divinely orchestrated. Think about the prayers you have whispered when no one else was around. The moments when you asked for help, for direction, for a sign. Those prayers did not disappear into silence. They were recorded. They were acknowledged. And now they are being answered. But the answers may not look exactly as you expected. And that is where many people become confused. They look for something familiar, something predictable, and when the blessing arrives in a different form, they hesitate. They question. They delay. Do not make that mistake. Because what is written in this file is greater than what you imagine. It goes beyond your limited expectations. It carries a wisdom that sees further than you can see right now. And if you trust it, if you receive it with openness, you will begin to witness changes that confirm this moment was real. There is also a sense of timing woven into everything within this file. Nothing is random. Nothing is misplaced. Every blessing, every opportunity, every shift is positioned to unfold in a sequence that aligns with your journey. And that sequence has already begun. You may not see everything at once. In fact, you likely will not. But you will begin to notice signs, small at first, then stronger, then undeniable. Moments where things align too perfectly to be coincidence. Situations where doors open in ways that surprise you. Encounters that feel purposeful rather than accidental. These are not random events. These are confirmations. And as this understanding settles into your spirit, you will begin to realize something powerful. You are not waiting for your blessing anymore. You are stepping into it. Stay attentive. Stay aware. Because what is about to unfold next will reveal the unseen forces that tried to stop this moment from ever reaching you. There is something you were never meant to fully see, but now, for this moment. It is being revealed so you can understand the weight of what you are stepping into. Because the truth is, this blessing did not arrive without resistance. It was not simply placed into your life without opposition. There were forces unseen, persistent, and determined that tried to block, delay, and even erase what was written for you. You may have sensed this without being able to explain it. The repeated delays, the patterns that seemed to hold you back just as you were about to move forward, the moments when things almost came together, only to fall apart at the last second. It felt confusing, sometimes even discouraging. But what you were experiencing was not random misfortune. It was resistance against what was destined for you. Archangel Michael has been present in those unseen battles, not as a distant observer, but as an active defender of your path. There were moments when interference tried to redirect your life, to lead you away from alignment, to distract you just enough to cause delay. But every time, protection was placed over you, even when you did not realize it. Understand this clearly. Not every closed door was meant to harm you. Some were shut to prevent misalignment. Some were blocked because stepping through them would have taken you away from what is now being opened. What felt like loss was often divine intervention. What looked like rejection was often redirection. There were also moments when your own strength was tested. Times when giving up would have been easier. Times when walking away felt like the only option. But something within you kept moving forward, even if it was slow, even if it was uncertain. That persistence was not just your willpower. It was a quiet alignment with something greater, guiding you through what you could not fully understand at the time. Archangel Michael stood between you and forces that intended to weaken your faith. There were attacks meant to create doubt, to make you question your worth, to convince you that nothing was changing. But those attacks did not succeed in stopping you. They only delayed what was already secured. And now you can see why the file remained sealed for so long. It was not just about your readiness. It was also about ensuring that what belongs to you would reach you without interference. Timing was not only about preparation, it was also about protection. There is a powerful truth here that many people overlook. When something carries significant purpose, it often faces significant resistance. Not because it is fragile, but because it is valuable. And what is inside your heavenly file carries a level of value that required guarding, defending, and preserving until the right moment. You may be realizing now that some of your hardest seasons were not empty. They were battlegrounds. And even though you could not see what was happening behind the scenes, victories were being secured on your behalf. Paths were being cleared. Obstacles were being moved out of your way, sometimes before you even reached them. This is why you are still here. This is why you did not fall apart in the moments you thought you would. This is why you continued moving forward even when everything felt uncertain. Because you were being protected for this exact moment. But here is what you must understand now. The same forces that tried to block this blessing before may still attempt to distract you in this moment. Not with direct opposition, but with subtle interference. Distractions, doubts, and delays may try to pull your attention away right when your focus matters most. That is why awareness is critical. Because once you recognize the pattern, it loses its power over you. Archangel Michael is still present, still guarding, still guiding. But your role now is different. Before, you were being carried through what you did not understand. Now, you are being called to stand aware, to recognize what is happening, and to remain aligned with it. Do not let distractions steal what protection has preserved. Because what comes next will begin to reveal something even more personal. Clear signs that confirm you were always meant to be part of this moment, and that this message was always meant to find you. There is a reason this moment feels personal to you. Not distant, not general, but deeply connected, as if it is speaking directly into your life. That feeling is not accidental. It is confirmation. Because there have been signs, clear, consistent signs, that you were always meant to be part of this moment. And now, those signs are beginning to make sense. Think back to the recent shifts in your awareness. The way certain thoughts have been repeating in your mind. The sudden clarity about situations that once confused you. The quiet realization that something in your life needed to change, even if you could not fully explain why. These were not random thoughts. These were signals, preparations, gentle nudges guiding you closer to alignment. Archangel Michael has been part of that process, influencing your path in ways that felt natural, almost unnoticeable at first. You may have felt drawn to step back from certain people, certain environments, or certain habits, not out of fear, but out of a deeper sense that they no longer matched who you were becoming. That was not coincidence. That was alignment in motion. There were also moments when you felt an unexpected pull towards something new. A new direction, a new idea, or even a new way of thinking. At first, it may have felt unfamiliar. You may have questioned it, hesitated, or even ignored it temporarily. But the feeling kept returning. That persistence was not random. It was purpose trying to get your attention. Another sign is the way you have handled your recent challenges. Even when situations became difficult, even when answers were not immediate, there was something different about your response. You may not have reacted the way you used to. You may have felt a deeper calm, a quiet strength, or a sense that things would eventually work out, even without clear evidence. That shift in your reaction is a sign of growth. It is a sign that your spirit hath been preparing to receive something greater. You have also experienced moments of isolation, not necessarily being alone physically, but feeling separated from what once felt familiar. Conversations that no longer resonate. Environments that feel out of place. Connections that seem to fade without clear explanation. These moments can feel uncomfortable, even confusing. But they are often necessary. Because alignment sometimes requires separation from what no longer fits your path. Archangel Michael allows these shifts to happen not to remove things from you, but to make space for what is meant to enter your life. You cannot fully receive something new while still holding tightly to what no longer belongs. And that process of release, though difficult at times, is a clear sign that you are being prepared. There is also a deeper awareness that has been growing within you. A sensitivity to what feels right and what does not. A stronger intuition. A quiet knowing that guides your decisions, even when logic tries to pull you in another direction. This is not something you learned overnight. It has been developing through your experiences, through your challenges, and through your willingness to keep moving forward even when you did not have all the answers. These are not small changes. They are indicators of transformation. And now, as you look at all of these signs together, you begin to see a pattern. You were being guided, step by step. Well, in that moment, even when you felt uncertain, even when you questioned the process, you were still moving in the right direction. That is why this message feels different. That is why it resonates in a way that is hard to ignore. Because it is not introducing something new. It is confirming something that has already been unfolding in your life. Archangel Michael recognizes your readiness. Not perfection, but readiness. Readiness to see clearly, to receive fully, and to respond without the same hesitation that may have held you back in the past. But there is still something you must understand. Recognition alone is not enough. Seeing the signs is only the beginning. What you do with that awareness is what determines how this moment unfolds. Because the window is still open, but it is not permanent. And what comes next will make that even more clear. There is a truth you cannot ignore any longer, and it carries a weight that must settle deeply into your spirit. The window that has opened before you, the one connected to this heavenly file, is not endless. It is precise, is intentional, and it is moving according to divine timing, not human convenience. This is why you feel urgency rising within you. This is why something inside you is telling you not to delay. You may be used to thinking that opportunities will return, that if something is meant for you, it will simply wait. But the spiritual realm does not always operate that way. There are moments, sacred, appointed moments, where everything aligns perfectly. Your readiness, the timing, the release from heaven, and the movement of your life all come together. And when that alignment is present, action must follow. Archangel Michael is making this clear to you now because he understands how easily this kind of moment can be overlooked. Not because you do not care, but because life is filled with distractions. Responsibilities, thoughts, doubts, and external noise can quietly pull your attention away. And before you realize it, the moment that once felt urgent begins to fade into the background. But this is not a moment that should fade. There is a difference between patience and delay. Patience is trusting the process while remaining aligned. Delay is stepping back when you are being called to move forward. And right now, you are not being asked to wait. You are being asked to respond. You may feel a hesitation rising within you. A part of you may want to slow down, to process everything, to come back to this later. That feeling is understandable, but it is also something you must be aware of. Because hesitation, in a moment like this, can quietly disconnect you from what has been opened. Archangel Michael is not trying to rush you without reason. He is urging you because he sees the movement of time in a way you cannot. He knows when the window begins to narrow. He knows when the opportunity starts to shift. And he does not want you to realize the importance of this moment after it has already passed. This is not about pressure. It is about awareness. Because once you understand the nature of this moment, your response becomes intentional. You are no longer moving blindly. You are choosing to align with something that has already been prepared. There is also something else you must consider. When a divine opportunity is presented, it often comes quietly. It does not always arrive with dramatic signs or overwhelming confirmation. Sometimes, it appears as a simple moment of clarity, a subtle realization, a quiet call to pay attention. And those who recognize it are the ones who step into what has been prepared. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this moment. You are not being asked to perform something complicated. You are not being asked to prove yourself. You are being asked to remain present, to stay aware, and to respond with trust. That is what keeps you aligned with what has been opened. Archangel Michael is still guiding you, still standing in alignment with what hath been released. But your role now is active. You are not just observing. You are participating. And participation requires attention. There is a shift happening even now as you listen. A sense that this is not something to set aside. A realization that this moment carries meaning beyond what you initially expected. That feeling is your confirmation. Do not push it away. Because once a moment like this begins to close, it does not announce itself. It simply moves on. And those who were meant to respond but did not are left wondering what they missed. But you are still here. You are still aware. The window is still open, and what comes next will guide you into the exact action that allows you to fully open what has been prepared for you. There is a sacred turning point happening right now, and it is not outside of you. It is within you. Everything you have heard, everything you have felt, has been leading to this exact moment. Because opening this heavenly file is not something you do with your hands, it is something you do with your spirit. And now, you are being guided into that activation. Take a moment and become fully aware of your presence. Not distracted, not divided, but completely here. Because the first step to opening what has been released is attention. Where your attention goes, your alignment follows. And where your alignment is, your life begins to shift. Archangel Michael is standing in this moment as a witness to your decision. Not forcing you, not controlling you, but guiding you. Because the act of opening this file begins with something simple, yet powerful: acceptance. You must accept that this moment is real. That this message is not not noise, but a direct alignment with something that has been prepared for you. As you accept this, something begins to unlock within you. The resistance that once felt strong starts to soften. Doubt begins to lose its hold. And in its place, there is a quiet clarity. You may not have all the answers yet, but you begin to feel a sense of direction, a knowing that you are stepping into something meaningful. Now, bring your focus inward. This is where the activation deepens. Because opening this file requires you to align your thoughts, your belief, and your awareness with what is being offered. If your mind is filled with doubt, you will struggle to recognize what is already in front of you. But if your mind is open, aware, and receptive, you begin to see clearly. There is no complicated ritual required. No special words that must be memorized. What matters is your sincerity, your willingness to receive, your decision to trust what you feel in this moment. Archangel Michael is guiding you to make that decision now. Not later, not after overthinking, but now. Because this is the moment where alignment becomes action. Say within yourself, quietly but with intention, I am ready to receive what has been prepared for me. Let those words settle into your awareness. Let them move beyond your thoughts and into your belief. Because this is not just a statement. It is a shift. It is you stepping into agreement with what heaven has already released. As you do this, pay attention to what you feel. It may be subtle. A sense of calm. A feeling of clarity. A quiet strength. Or it may be stronger. A sudden awareness. A deep emotional response. A realization that something has changed. However it appears, do not ignore it. That is the beginning of the opening. There is also something important you must understand. Once this file is opened spiritually, your life begins to respond. Not always in dramatic ways at first, but in clear, intentional movements. You may notice changes in your perspective. You may feel drawn to different choices. You may see opportunities appear that were not visible before. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. Archangel Michael remains present as this unfolds, ensuring that what has been opened continues to move toward you. But your role remains important. You must stay aware. You must stay aligned. Because opening the file is the beginning, not the end. Now, as you stand in this moment of activation, seal it with intention. If you feel this message aligning with your spirit, type these words with clarity and belief. I open what heaven has released. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your life. And as this sacred alignment settles within you, hear this call that flows directly from this moment. There are souls who are still waiting in silence. still searching for the same clarity that has just reached you. When you choose to act, you become part of something greater than yourself. You become a channel through which light continues to flow. The word speaks that when you sow beside all waters, your seed will not return empty, but will bring forth a harvest in due season. If your spirit is moved right now, let your action reflect it. Say within yourself, I am sowing into this divine work, and release your seed through the PayPal link in the description or the QR code provided in this video. As you do, may your giving open doors that no one can shut. May it bring increase where there was lack, and may it return to you multiplied in ways beyond your expectation. Do not hesitate. Step into this act with faith and authority. Something has already begun to shift, even if you cannot fully see it yet. The moment you aligned your spirit, the moment you chose to open what heaven has released, a response was set into motion. Not delayed, not distant, but immediate in the spiritual realm. And now, what was activated within you is beginning to unfold around you. This is where many people become uncertain, because they expect everything to change instantly in visible ways. But the truth is, transformation often begins quietly. It starts beneath the surface, in places you cannot yet measure. And then, step by step, it reveals itself in your reality. Archangel Michael is guiding this unfolding with precision. Nothing is random. Nothing is misplaced. What hath been opened is now moving into position, lining circumstances, shifting energies, and preparing the path ahead of you. One of the first things you may notice is a change within yourself. A sense of peace that feels unfamiliar but welcome. A clarity that begins to replace confusion. Thoughts that once felt heavy now feel lighter, more directed. This is not coincidence. This is alignment taking form within you. You may also begin to see changes in your environment. Conversations that suddenly bring answers you were not expecting. Opportunities that appear without you searching for them. Situations that once felt stuck beginning to move forward. These are early signs, subtle but significant. Do not overlook them, because the way you respond to these early signs determines how the rest unfolds. If you dismiss them, if you doubt them, you slow the process. But if you recognize them, if you receive them with awareness, you strengthen the alignment that has already begun. Archangel Michael understands this phase is delicate. It is where belief must remain steady, even when visible proof is still developing. It is where your trust becomes your strength. There may also be moments where things feel uncertain again. This is important to understand. Not every part of this process will feel smooth. Sometimes, as things shift into place, there may be temporary discomfort. Old patterns may try to resurface. Doubts may attempt to return. But these are not signs that something is wrong. They are signs that something is changing. When light enters a space, it reveals what was hidden. And as your life begins to align, anything that does not match that alignment will begin to stand out more clearly. This is part of the process. Do not be discouraged by it. Instead, see it as confirmation. Because what no longer belongs will not be able to remain where you are going. Archangel Michael is ensuring that what unfolds is not only an official, but also sustainable. This is not a temporary shift. This is something designed to remain, to grow, and to continue developing over time. You may also begin to feel a stronger sense of direction. Decisions that once felt difficult may now feel clearer. Choices that once seemed confusing may now feel obvious. This is the result of alignment. When you are connected to what has been prepared for you, your path becomes easier to recognize. There is also an increase in awareness. You begin to notice things you once overlooked. Patterns become clear. Opportunities become more visible. You start to understand not just what is happening, but why it is happening. This level of clarity is not something that appears randomly. It is the result of your willingness to open what was placed before you. And as this continues, you will begin to see something even more powerful: consistency. Not just one moment of change, but a series of aligned events that build upon each other. One step leading to another. One opportunity opening the door to the next. This is how transformation takes root. You are not stepping into a single blessing. You are stepping into a flow. A movement that continues, that expands, that evolves as you remain aligned with it. Stay aware. Stay present. Because what is unfolding now is only the beginning. And what comes next will reveal how others have stepped into the same moment, and what happened when they chose not to hesitate. There are stories that never get told public, the moments that happen quietly in the lives of ordinary people, yet carry extraordinary transformation. These are the testimonies of those who stood exactly where you are now, facing a moment of decision, feeling the weight of something they could not fully explain, yet choosing to respond anyway. You are not the first to encounter a moment like this. Others have felt this same pull, this same urgency, this same awareness that something significant was unfolding. And the difference between those who stepped into their blessing and those who missed it came down to one thing: their response. Archangel Michael has witnessed these moments unfold countless times. He has seen hesitation turn into regret, but he has also seen faith turn into transformation. And the testimonies that come from those who chose to act are powerful, not because they are perfect, but because they are real. There was someone who had been waiting for clarity for years. In viewed uncertain measure of witted already and a dig. When their moment came, it did not arrive with loud signs or overwhelming proof. It came quietly, much like this moment is arriving for you now. They felt it, questioned it, almost ignored it, but something within them chose to respond. And in the days that followed, everything began to shift. The confusion lifted. Opportunities aligned. What once felt blocked began to open. It was not instant in appearance, but it was immediate in movement. There was another who had experienced repeated disappointment. Doors had closed so many times that hope itself began to feel distant. When this kind of moment reached them, their first reaction was doubt. They did not trust it. They hesitated. But eventually, they chose to move forward anyway, not because they were certain, but because they were willing. And that willingness became the turning point. What followed was not just a single breakthrough, but a series of aligned events that restored what they thought was permanently lost. Archangel Michael observed something consistent in all of these testimonies. The moment of decision was always simple, yet powerful. It was not about having complete understanding. It was about choosing to trust what was felt in that moment. But there are also stories that carry a different outcome. Stories of those who felt the same pull, recognized the same urgency, but chose to wait. They told themselves they would come back to it later, that they needed more time, more confirmation, more certainty. And when they returned, the moment had shifted. The alignment was no longer the same. The opportunity that once felt clear became distant. These stories are not shared to create fear, they are shared to create awareness. Because you are standing in the same space where those decisions were made. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that your response matters. Not in a distant, abstract way, but in a direct and immediate way. What you choose to do with this moment will influence how it unfolds in your life. There is also something else these testimonies reveal. When someone responds with alignment, they begin to notice confirmation. Not always in dramatic ways, but in clear, undeniable patterns. Things begin to make sense. Paths begin to open. And there is a sense of movement that replaces the feeling of being stuck. This is not coincidence. This is what happens when you step into what has already been prepared. You may be realizing now that this moment is not isolated. It is part of a larger pattern, one that has played out in the lives of many, each with their own unique journey, but all connected by a single choice: to respond or to delay. And now, that same choice is in front of you. There is no pressure, but there is importance. There is no force, but there is significance. Because what you do now is not just about this moment. It is about what follows. You are not alone in this. Others have walked this path. Others have felt what you are feeling. And those who chose to trust, even without complete understanding, found themselves stepping into something they could not have predicted, but were always meant to receive. And as you stand here now, aware and present, there is something else you are being guided toward: how to remain aligned so that what has been opened continues to grow, strengthen, and fully manifest in your life. Now that you have stepped into this awareness, now that you have aligned yourself with what has been opened, there is something even more important to understand: how to remain in alignment so that what has begun does not fade, weaken, or become something you only experienced for a moment. Because receiving is one thing, sustaining is another. This is where many people lose what they were so close to fully experiencing. Not because it was taken from them, but because they drifted out of alignment. They allowed old patterns, old thoughts, and old distractions to slowly pull them away from what they had stepped into. Archangel Michael is guiding you now into a deeper level of awareness. Before, your role was to recognize the moment. And now, your role is to remain connected to it. The first key to alignment is consistency in your awareness. You cannot treat this as something temporary. This is not a passing feeling or a single moment of inspiration. This is a shift that requires your continued attention. The same focus that allowed you to open this file must remain present as it begins to unfold in your life. This does not mean you must be constantly thinking about it in a forced way. It means you stay conscious of what you have stepped into. You remain aware of your thoughts, your responses, and your choices. Because alignment is not maintained by chance, it is maintained by intention. There will be moments where life tries to pull your attention away. Responsibilities will demand your focus. Situations will test your patience. Old habits may try to return. This is natural. But what matters is how you respond to those moments. Archangel Michael reminds you that awareness is your anchor. When you notice yourself drifting, you gently bring your focus back. You remind yourself of what has been opened. You reconnect with the sense of clarity and purpose that you felt in this moment. Another key to alignment is trust. Not blind trust, but grounded trust. Trust that what has begun is real, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. There will be phases where things feel slow, where visible change seems limited. During those times, doubt may try to rise again. But this is where your understanding becomes your strength. Because you now know that transformation does not always appear instantly. You know that movement can be happening beneath the surface. And instead of questioning the process, you remain steady within it. Archangel Michael is still present, still guiding, still ensuring that what hath been opened continues to move toward completion. But your trust allows that process to remain uninterrupted. There is also something else you must practice: discernment. As your awareness grows, you will begin to recognize what aligns with your path and what does not. Not everything that appears will be meant for you. Not every opportunity will match what hath been prepared. This is why staying connected to your inner clarity is essential. When something feels right, It will carry a sense of peace, even if it challenges you. When something does not align, it will feel forced, heavy, or confusing. Trust those signals, because alignment is not just about moving forward, it is about moving in the right direction. You will also notice that as you remain aligned, your confidence begins to grow. Not loud or overwhelming confidence, but a quiet certainty. A sense that you are exactly where you need to be, even if everything is not yet fully visible. This kind of confidence does not come from external validation. It comes from inner alignment. Archangel Michael is strengthening that within you, step by step, as you continue to remain present and aware. And as you move forward, you will begin to see that this is not just about receiving a blessing. It is about becoming someone who can carry it, sustain it, and grow with it. This is the difference between a temporary change and a lasting transformation. You are being guided into something that is meant to remain. And now, as everything begins to settle into place, there is one final message waiting for you, a closing that will not take anything away from this moment, but will instead bring peace, assurance, and a deep understanding that you were never alone in this process. Beloved soul, as this moment gently comes to its close, there is something you must feel more than simply here. You were never alone in any part of this journey. Not in the waiting, not in the confusion, not even in the moments when everything felt silent and distant. Every step, every delay, every hidden battle, all of it was seen, recorded, and held with purpose. And now, as the heavenly file that carries your name has been opened, there is no fear left in this message, only peace, assurance, and quiet certainty. Because what hath been released to you does not come with anxiety. It comes with divine order. It comes with a calm knowing that what is meant for you will not miss you, as long as you remain present and aligned. Archangel Michael stands not with urgency now, but with reassurance. His message is no longer a warning, it is a covering, a reminder that what you have stepped into is being watched over, guided, and protected. You are not walking into the unknown alone. You are walking into something that has already been prepared, already been secured, and already been assigned to you. Take a deep breath in this moment and allow that truth to settle within you. You do not have to force anything to happen. You do not have to chase what has already been released. Your role is not to struggle, it is to stay aligned, to remain aware, to continue trusting what has already begun, even when you cannot yet see every detail. There will be days ahead where things feel clear and easy, and there may be moments where questions try to return. But now, you carry something you did not have before, understanding. You know that this process is real. You know that this alignment has already begun. And you know that what has been opened cannot simply disappear without purpose. Archangel Michael remains present, not as a distant figure, but as a constant guide. And even when you move forward into your daily life, even when this moment becomes a memory, the impact of what has been activated will continue to unfold. This is not the end of something. This is the beginning of a new phase. A phase where you walk with more clarity, where you respond with more confidence, where you recognize divine timing not as something distant, but as something active in your life. And now, as this sacred moment comes to its gentle close, seal it not with fear, but with faith. If you feel the truth of this message within you, if something deep inside you knows that this was meant for you, then declare it with intention. I walk in what has been released for me. Lesson code 444 is now sealed over your life. Carry that with you, not as words but as alignment. And as you move forward, remember this: the file was opened for a reason. You were called for a reason. and what has begun will continue, step by step, in perfect timing. Now receive this final call that flows from everything you have just experienced as this heavenly file has been opened and light has poured into your life. There are still countless souls waiting in darkness for the same moment of awakening. When you give, you are not supporting a channel. You are releasing oil into lamps that are about to go out. The living word declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over." And this is not just a promise. It is God speaking directly into your obedience right now. If you feel this stirring within you, say it boldly. I am part of this divine release, and act without hesitation. Sow your seed through the PayPal link in the description or the QR code before you, and let your giving become a prophetic response to what heaven has unlocked. As you do, may doors open over your life that no man can shut. May provision meet you in unexpected ways, and may your harvest overflow beyond what you imagined. Step forward now. This is your moment to act.